to be in groups tonight, so now we're going to talk about Kmart. And that is Carol Dumas. And next after that would be April Border.
Hi, my name is Carol Dumas. I live on Boland Avenue. Hi, Miss Mayor, and hello, Council.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you for listening to me. I'm here tonight to talk about my vehement opposition to the development that is planned and going in at the Kmart site. I would like to thank Vice Mayor Craven and Councilmember Kevin Kildee for voting no on this planned development. And I'm concerned with the yes vote of Councilmember Mike Morgan and Tony Tremblay. This high-density housing project is a bad idea for this area of Camarillo. We already have at least 4 high-density housing projects that have been approved by this council. Only 2 have been voted down. We all can see the Springville development that's going in. That's hundreds of units already going in right there. And where I live on Arneal, there's already a big apartment complex right behind where I live. I believe that Fiesta Avenue and Arneal, where that would be, that's where the corner where it'd be, cannot handle that kind of traffic. And yes, we just got out of a drought in California, but another one could come back really quick around here. And where's the water going to come from? You know, where are we going to get more police and fire to take care of the increased crime, probably, with more housing units there? I've talked to a lot of people on social media about this. My neighbors and I are all on Nextdoor. There's an app, and so many people, at least 80 people replied to this message, and I would say about 95% are completely opposed to this development. We would much rather see some kind of nice retail stores in there, maybe like Pottery Barn or something like that, not a bunch more apartments. And think about this. Okay, if you have about 2 cars per apartment, that's going to be another 180 cars there on Fiesta and Arneal. Where are they going to park? I mean, people that live on the area near Centennial, which is close to the other Fiesta apartments, are already dealing with a lot of overflow parking from those apartments. It's just a lot, and we really don't want it. We want to keep Camarillo cute and small, attract tourists because it's so cute, get tourist money in. And thank you for listening. That's about all I have to say right now, except I have one question, and that is, when is the official hearing on this?
I will let Mr. Vaca answer that, but just to clarify, there was no vote taken to approve it. It was simply to let them study it, so he can give you a little bit of what will happen here.
So we don't have an answer of when an anticipated hearing will be, but it would be significantly far out into the future, and there would be several instances for public review, most specifically with the environmental document that would be prepared that would analyze several of the items that you raised, such as traffic, water, parking, and that would be prepared in a draft format, and we would notify adjacent property owners, and they would have an opportunity to review and comment on that document as well as the project as it moves forward. So we do not have a current application yet. We anticipate that the property owner will be submitting an application for us to go through those studies.
Okay. It's my understanding that there were some kind of notices that went out to adjacent property owners. We're adjacent, and we never got any such notice. So I am concerned about that.
Our code compliance recognized a sign that had been posted out near the Kmart property that was not an official city public notice. We don't know who put it there, and it wasn't placed legally, and it has since been removed.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. No.
Notices weren't sent out.
Because you're not actually dealing with the
We're not-
project yet.
We're
You're
not doing
only
a project yet. It's just referring to look and see what they're talking about.
That's all.
So to get through the process, what's a normal process take, just in general?
So for a general plan amendment and a change of zone, would take those two applications to be filed, and it would require analysis under the California Environmental Quality Act, where we would look to see if there are any potential impacts as a result of the defined project. And typically, that takes around 18 months to 2 years to get through to public hearing.
You can see there's a lot of steps along the way, so keep in touch and keep watching, and there are notices that go out when you get to the public hearing.
Yes, and
Additionally-
we can create an interest list, and we'd be happy to do that. So we don't technically have a file, received an application yet from the applicant, but we could still start an interest list. So
Okay.
if there are members of the community that would like to, they can contact my office at 388-5360. That's the Community Development Department. And please express interest on being put on an interest list, and we'll make sure that we can notify you in the future, even if you're outside the radius.
Madam Mayor,
Thank you.
during that hearing, we also asked the property owner to engage in a robust community engagement process, separate and apart from the city's process, to get out and talk to all of the neighbors and provide that. I don't know whether or not any of that has yet occurred, but my expectation would be that that would occur.
Well, it's probably still a little premature, but because as you can see, it takes a while, so they haven't even cement their application. But if you get on the list, then that way you can be notified of anything that comes up. Because we haven't heard anything since that first meeting either, so. But thank you for coming, and we have a couple more, I believe, on this topic. April Border?
Thank you for allowing me to speak on the topic. I am also vehemently opposed to the Kmart building. And my property, 1007 Bordeaux, backs up directly to Kmart. And for the amount of four-story building that you would be putting in there, I lose all my privacy. I work out of my house. I sit at my window. I look at that property back window. That's not a problem. But when you put something like this up, I'm going to be staring at other people who are staring at me. I have a pool. My niece and nephew come and swim there. I don't want other people seeing what is happening in my yard. We travel. Now everyone is going to know when I leave. So I don't like this at all. I think it's been kind of a bamboozle. Mark Pettit, who is Lauterbach, an architect, stated, was at least quoted, that they are currently talking to the neighborhood. And I, again, work at home. No one has come to talk to me about it. Okay, so no one's gotten my opinion. I'm disappointed on those who have voted to even go forward with this. So I am asking that you reconsider on getting something that is more community-centered, more pulling in outside communities, put in an ice rink, put in something. We have 4 shopping centers that have vacancies. What other stores are you going to be putting in there that are going to bring people there? The traffic. On Saturdays and Sundays, I get to listen to people who are mobile car washers who aren't licensed. For 3 or 4 hours, I get to hear their air compressor in that back parking lot. I mean, there's traffic and overflow because there's more than 2 people in those apartments. There's 4 or 5. Each one of them has a car. There's not enough parking. I just really feel like this is just the wrong thing for Midtown. You've already got other projects that are on the outskirts that allow, people to come in. The traffic just getting into Midtown. You're putting in a stoplight. That slows things down. This just does not make sense. So I'm just asking you to really consider, and I know that there's a bunch of us who really feel that this is the wrong thing in the wrong place. And I know it's a benefit for just a few and not for the rest of us. When I came to Camarillo 7 years ago, I went to the first Christmas lighting that I had for Camarillo and Mike Morgan, council member, was there. And we talked about our dogs. We talked about, how quaint this is and everything. This project is not Camarillo. So I'm just asking you to really consider and know that you have people who really want the right thing and are willing to back it up with you, but this is not it. So, thank you.
Great. Mr. Mr. Vaca, can you ask Mr. Pettit and to remind him, he did tell us that he was going to meet with the neighbors and maybe see if he has or what he
He
plans.
also told
plans
us that he had met with neighbors.
So,
Yes.
I have another question for you.
and we have, I'm
I didn't
assuming
hear
all,
4 stories.
I'm assuming all of you are the yellow cards that you filled out? Okay, so you are automatically on the list because your name and address is there, and we'll make sure that the council and staff reads your comments as well. So, thank you.
And by the way, I'm going to make a comment, Your Honor. If this is 4 stories, I'm not voting for it, period, just so you know right out of the buck.
And I did have one more speaker sheet, someone who would like to speak, and that's Dana Ritchie. That's me. Do you want to talk? You filled out the right color card.
Good evening, folks. I've been a resident of Camarillo for 17 years now. I've raised my family here and felt very comfortable, very at ease, not a lot of commotion. Yeah, there's been some trials and tribulations of youngsters growing up and being youngsters, okay? But when you start adding all this together in one small area, things are going to get a little bit jumbled, and who knows what can happen next. I've been raised to do the things right. I've raised my children right. I'm very proud of them. I've got beautiful grandchildren, and I want them to be able to travel in this city that I love so well and not be in harm's way. And if you start trying to inundate the infrastructure, it's going to get overwhelmed. And I live behind Kmart, off of Fiesta. I live on Bordeaux. And so I never thought that I'd really love the house that I love so well now, but the people are great. The atmosphere is what we enjoy. Kind of a family environment. And so I'd like to keep it that way. I'd like to see I'd like to see young children come up and become adults, in a nice area. But when you start overwhelming it, you don't know what's going to happen next. So I want you to think about that. And I've thought a lot about it since I heard about this 2 weeks ago. Okay, I didn't know this was happening in my area, in my zone. So please take notice of what we're all standing up for tonight. It's very important to all of us. Business is business, but family is family. So we'd like to keep it, simple and free. And I thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you very much. And as you heard, we have a long ways to go, but you're going to take the journey with us, so we'll be in touch. Okay, that finishes the Kmart group. Now we